Ladies and gentlemen, the year 2025 began with a devastating incident in the United States. During the early hours of the first day of the year, amid New Year's celebrations in New Orleans, a terrorist attack claimed the lives of 15 individuals and left 35 others injured when an assailant drove a pickup truck into the crowd celebrating on the iconic Bourbon Street. The incident gained even greater significance following the discovery of an Islamic State flag in the vehicle and homemade explosives in the vicinity. Stay tuned until the end as I will present all the details of this attack, including the identity of the perpetrator, how he orchestrated the assault, and the latest developments in the ongoing investigation. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, take this opportunity to do so now and activate the notification bell to stay updated with all our content. Let's dive into the case. The primary suspect in the attack was identified as Shamsud-din, a 42-year-old American citizen residing in Houston, Texas. To better understand who this individual was who perpetrated one of the most significant tragedies ever witnessed in New Orleans, we must look back in time and examine his background from the beginning. Born on October 26, 1982, Jabbar was raised in Beaumont, Texas. His initial encounters with law enforcement began early. In 2002, he was arrested for theft, and in 2005, he faced issues for operating a vehicle with an invalid driver's license. Nevertheless, his life appeared to take a more stable direction when, in 2007, he chose to enlist in the United States Army. In his military career, Jabbar initially served as a human resources specialist. One of the most notable periods of his service was his deployment to Afghanistan, where he operated from February 2009 to January 2010. Beyond Afghanistan, he also served in Alaska and North Carolina, showcasing a diverse military background. Regarding his academic pursuits, Jabbar invested in his education throughout the years. In 2010, he earned an associate degree from Central Texas College. Subsequently, in 2017, he completed his bachelor's degree in computer information systems at Georgia State University, highlighting his interest and proficiency in the field of information technology. His professional life after military service was characterized by various attempts to establish a stable career. In 2019, he obtained his real estate license in the state of Texas and managed to launch his own real estate agency. In videos shared on social media, Jabbar portrayed himself as a fierce negotiator who could brilliantly market properties. In 2020, he was honorably discharged from the Army with the rank of sergeant. In 2021, his career seemed to flourish when he secured employment with a consulting firm, where he earned an annual salary of $120,000, working in data management. However, his real estate license eventually expired, and he apparently abandoned the real estate market. His personal life was also marked by instability. Jabbar was married twice and had children from these relationships. His first daughter was born around 2004, but the marriage ended in divorce in 2017. His second marriage was equally turbulent. He filed for divorce in July 2020, citing irreconcilable differences. Although the couple attempted reconciliation, they ultimately filed for divorce again in September 2022, which was finalized in September 2024, just months before the attack. In the months leading up to the attack, Jabbar began showing concerning signs of radicalization. According to family members and friends, he had converted to Islam while young, but his interest in the religion intensified significantly after 2017. One of his former wives reported that he was behaving erratically in the months preceding the attack. At the time of his death, Jabbar was residing in a trailer park in Houston, Texas, in modest conditions, with sheep, goats, ducks, and chickens roaming the yard. In the days before the attack, Jabbar exhibited clear premeditation. He rented a pickup truck in Texas through an application and recorded several videos that he posted on social media, where he openly expressed his inspiration from the Islamic State (IS) group and manifested what was described as a desire to kill. The subsequent investigation revealed the presence of an Islamic State flag on the trailer hitch of the vehicle, along with improvised explosives, demonstrating detailed planning of the attack. The FBI, which has taken charge of the investigation, is officially treating the case as an act of terrorism. Authorities continue their investigation to fully understand the extent of Jabbar's planning and his possible connections to other individuals or groups. as there are indications that he might not have acted alone in this attack that tragically marked the first day of 2025. It was precisely in the days leading up to this tragic attack that Shamsud-din Jabbar began leaving clearer indications of his terrorist intentions. His meticulous preparation began in Houston, Texas, where he resided in a modest trailer park. The location where he planned the attack contrasted with his previous successful professional life. The property was rustic, with sheep, goats, ducks, and chickens wandering the yard, demonstrating the significant change in his lifestyle in the months before the attack. On December 30th, 2024, Jabbar initiated the operational phase of his plan. He rented a Ford F-150 Lightning in Houston, utilizing the car-sharing application Turo. The choice of vehicle demonstrated calculated planning. The electric model wasn't selected for environmental concerns, but for its specific technical characteristics. The F-150 Lightning is known for being extremely quiet compared to conventional trucks, while also possessing impressive torque and superior acceleration compared to combustion engine models. These features, as later revealed by the investigation, were specifically chosen to maximize the destructive potential of the attack, enabling a quieter approach and faster acceleration at the moment of impact. During the journey from Houston to New Orleans, corresponding to approximately 1,000 kilometers in distance, Jabbar documented his intentions in a series of 5 disturbing videos that he posted on his social media. The content of these videos revealed an increasingly radicalized mental state. He addressed various topics, including his recent divorce finalized in September 2024, just months before the attack. In the videos, he mentioned having dreams that inspired him to join the Islamic State and recorded what he termed his final testament, making clear the suicidal nature of his intentions. One of the most disturbing aspects of these recordings was the revelation that his initial plan was even more sinister. Jabbar confessed that he had considered gathering his family for a fake celebration with the intention of mass murder. However, for reasons not fully clarified, he ultimately abandoned this initial plan, opting to direct his violence against random citizens during the New Year's celebrations. Upon arriving in New Orleans, Jabbar established an operational base by renting an Airbnb in the St. Roch neighborhood. From this location, he began implementing the different phases of his terrorist plan. One of the first actions was the strategic placement of improvised explosive devices, IEDs, at various points throughout the French Quarter. 2 distinct devices were placed in the area, both containing nails to maximize potential damage. A third explosive device, also filled with nails, was installed in the pickup truck itself. The latter was configured with a remote detonation system, whose controller was later found inside the vehicle. Beyond the explosives, Jabbar assembled a considerable arsenal. In the vehicle, he kept ready for use an AR-style rifle and a pistol. As an explicit declaration of his ideological motivations and connection to international terrorism, he visibly mounted an Islamic State flag on the trailer hitch of the pickup truck, an element that would prove crucial for the subsequent classification of the act as terrorism by the FBI. The selection of location and timing of the attack demonstrated detailed knowledge of the region and its vulnerabilities. The French Quarter of New Orleans, particularly the Bourbon Street area, is historically one of the most crowded points in the city during New Year's celebrations. Under normal conditions, the area is protected by fixed barriers, known as bollards, installed more than 10 years ago as part of a city infrastructure project. However, Jabbar was apparently aware that these protections had been temporarily removed for repairs in preparation for the Super Bowl. The New Orleans Police Department had implemented alternative security measures, positioning police vehicles and officers at strategic points to compensate for the absence of fixed barriers. A security perimeter had been established with approximately 400 officers in the French Quarter. Nevertheless, Jabbar found a gap in this security system. He planned and executed a route that allowed his vehicle to mount the sidewalk, bypassing the improvised barriers. It's important to note that, despite the extensive planning, certain aspects of the attack demonstrated significant technical deficiencies. None of the explosive devices managed to detonate, which investigators attribute to Jabbar's lack of technical expertise in this area. Although he had military experience, his army background didn't include specialized training in explosives, having primarily operated in the areas of human resources and information technology. The FBI is particularly interested in the days immediately preceding the attack. The agency has established a specific digital tip line, requesting information from anyone who may have had contact with Jabbar in the 72 hours before the attack. This emphasis on the hours leading up to the attack suggests that investigators suspect other individuals might have assisted in the preparations, especially considering the logistical complexity involved in installing the explosives at various locations throughout the French Quarter. With all preparations complete and taking advantage of the vulnerability in the French Quarter security system, Jabbar was ready to execute his terrorist plan. In the early hours of January 1, 2025, while thousands of people were still celebrating the arrival of the new year in the streets of New Orleans, the attack began to unfold. At 3:15 in the morning local time, Jabbar initiated his deadly assault. He was driving the Ford F-150 Lightning pickup truck northwest along Canal Street. As he approached the intersection with Bourbon Street, he executed a maneuver that caught security forces off guard. Instead of attempting to pass through the police barriers positioned on the street, he directed the vehicle onto the sidewalk, managing to evade both the barricades and the police SUV that was strategically positioned to protect the area. Captain John Roberts of the 8th District would later explain that the police had strategically positioned vehicles in front of the area to prevent access to the street. However, Jabbar discovered a weakness in this defensive system. Even with approximately 400 officers assigned to the French Quarter that night, no one managed to prevent his incursion onto the sidewalk. Once past the barriers, Jabbar accelerated the pickup truck down Bourbon Street, a thoroughfare traditionally reserved for pedestrians and particularly crowded on that festive night. The superintendent of the New Orleans Police Department, Kirkpatrick, stated that the attack was clearly intentional and aimed to cause the maximum number of casualties possible. He attempted to strike as many people as he could, Kirkpatrick declared in a subsequent interview. The deadly rout continued until Jabbar reached KTI Street, where the pickup truck finally collided with an elevator. At this point, the second phase of the attack began. Jabbar exited the vehicle and immediately started firing at people around him and at the police officers responding to the situation. The police response was swift and decisive. 3 officers engaged the terrorist in an intense shootout. During the exchange of gunfire, 2 officers were hit but managed to survive their injuries. The confrontation ended with Jabbar being fatally shot by the officers. The outcome of the attack was devastating. 15 people lost their lives, including the terrorist himself, and another 35 were wounded. The area's security cameras captured all the horror of the attack, showing the exact moment when the pickup truck plowed into the unsuspecting crowd celebrating New Year's. After the attack, authorities made an additional disturbing discovery. Besides the Islamic State flag mounted on the trailer hitch, improvised explosive devices were found both in the vehicle and at various points along the street where people had been struck. The area had to be evacuated while bomb squad units conducted controlled detonations of the devices. The attack scene quickly transformed into an extensive crime scene. The FBI immediately took charge of the investigation, officially classifying the incident as an act of terrorism. Special agents described the attack as a clearly intentional carnage, emphasizing the terrorists' determination to inflict maximum possible damage. The attack zone, especially Bourbon Street, remained cordoned off for an extended period after the incident, being treated as an active crime scene. Authorities had to work meticulously to collect all possible evidence, while simultaneously handling the challenging task of identifying victims and notifying their families. The investigation of this attack took on even more complex dimensions when, on the same Wednesday morning, the 1st, another terrorist incident occurred in Las Vegas. A Tesla Cybertruck exploded in front of the Trump Hotel around 8:37, resulting in 1 death and leaving 7 people injured. The vehicle's driver, identified as Matthew Allen Livelsberger, had also rented the car through the Turo application, the same one used by Jabbar. The complexity of the investigation increased when it was discovered that Livelsberger had served at the same military base as Jabbar. However, President Joe Biden came forward publicly to state that the 2 events have no connection to each other, although U.S. authorities continue to investigate possible links between the cases. In Las Vegas, investigators found fireworks and gasoline tanks in the Cybertruck, connected to a detonation system controlled by the driver. An interesting detail noted by authorities was that the vehicle's resilient structure helped contain the explosion, directing it upward rather than sideways, which ultimately reduced the potential number of casualties. To manage security after the attack in New Orleans, the governor issued an emergency declaration that allowed for the immediate mobilization of additional resources. As part of these measures, the mobilization of a military police company was ordered to assist both the New Orleans Police and the FBI in investigations and city security. The Greater New Orleans Foundation established a special fund to assist the attack victims, demonstrating the community's mobilization in response to the tragedy. Authorities are particularly concerned about the security of upcoming major events in the city, such as the Super Bowl and Mardi Gras. In response to the attack, authorities initiated a comprehensive review of the city's security procedures. Special attention is being given to the protective barriers, bollards, in the French Quarter, with the governor promising that their replacement and modernization will be a top priority before upcoming major events. The FBI continues working in conjunction with various federal agencies, including the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice. Senator Kennedy, in a statement, emphasized the importance of a thorough investigation, promising that the truth about the attack will be revealed to the American people as soon as the investigation is concluded. The impact of the attack was immediately felt in the city's sporting schedule. The CFP, college football playoff, quarterfinal game between Georgia and Notre Dame, which was scheduled to take place at the Superdome at 1945 on the same day, had to be postponed 24 hours. The decision was made jointly with ESPN, the College Football Playoff, the Southeastern Conference, and the involved universities, prioritizing public safety. Jeff Hunley, representative of the Super Bowl Committee, which has a 90-year history of partnership with New Orleans, expressed how this tragedy profoundly affected the organization. During the press conference, authorities assured that the Superdome and surrounding area are secure, with additional protection measures being implemented. To enhance security, specialized teams with explosive detection dogs were assigned to sweep the Superdome and all exterior areas. Authorities established a grid search system, with officers covering every street in the French Quarter and all access routes to the stadium, searching for any suspicious items. As a sign of mourning and respect for the victims, the governor ordered all flags at state buildings to be flown at half-staff during the game between Notre Dame and Georgia. Authorities also requested that people avoid circulating in the secure area unless absolutely necessary, respecting the perimeter established for the investigation. New Orleans, known for its ability to host major events such as the Super Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Mardi Gras, Jazz Fest, and Essence Festival, now faces the challenge of reinforcing its reputation as a safe city. Authorities emphasize that the city will continue to welcome its visitors and events, but with even more rigorous security protocols. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel to follow more content like this. Also leave in the comments what you thought about this case. Until the next video,